office. Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order is presentation of awards. Ms. Rose.
Good evening, everyone. During the January meeting, the CRA approved for business of the month. So today we have all businesses within the town who have an active business license as agreed upon regardless of what kind of business they have. And the Munster City of Central Florida has agreed to be our first business of the month. So I would like to present them with a certificate, and then behind me is the board that we will drop off to their place of location. Representative from the Munster City. Okay, so they're not here tonight. So we'll make sure that they get their award.
Thank you. Next, we have citizen participation.
We have none at this time.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
So.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have board discussion of potential leasing of 2 CRA lots on East Kennedy Boulevard, 343 and 349. Ms. Rose.
So in this particular item, there has been several proposals that have come to the CRA, and I'm kind of leading to the board what direction on which way you all would like to head in the usage of the lots. So we have 2 proposals and several discussions that have been had. I just kind of want to get guidance for the board would like the lots to be used, if we like to set rates, if we like to set the amount of time to be used, the uses that we will and won't allow is kind of what the discussion is for today.
Director Randolph.
Thank you. For this leases, would it be for individual events, or will it be a long-term or short-term lease with the individual or an entity?
That's what I would like for you all to decide. So one of the proposals is for the circuit. As you all know, the CRA is actively working to do renovations at the circuit, and there's parking concerns and discussions that have come up, and the owner is requesting to use the CRA lots. There's another proposal of an event coordinator who would like to use the lot would pay a flat rate for monthly leasing to host events such as weddings and birthday parties. So that's why I would like direction from the board as to what you would all like to see. Obviously, the exception for that lot, we have to do consideration are the 3 major events that we host as a town. So Zora is being one of them. Those lots are typically used. MLK, those lots are typically used, and I'm pretty sure Founders Day are those lots. So if they aren't, I think those are things for us to think about as far as exclusions of when we want to make sure and ensure that the CRA partnering events for the town are just still being used that way.
Now, are these lots actually owned by the town, or are they CRA lots?
CRA owns the 2 lots.
Okay. The other question that I have is, well, not a question, but it's kind of concerned. Whatever decision we make, we just have to make sure that everyone has a business tax receipt, insurance, and all of those requirements that comes as far as leasing property. But I would like to see the lot lease on an individual basis, as such as special use for special events. But you can have different people that may want to come to have different events, and you don't want to have. I would not like to see one particular parcel just designated to one particular entity. So it will be just like a rental, just like we do the Denton Johnson Center and our parts and the other parts that we have. It will come schedule, put a lease in to rent that property.
Do we have any kind of fee schedules, breakdowns at all? We just kind of start from scratch. And then to piggyback off of Director Randolph, I'm assuming that it'll be open to more than just commercial applicants. I'm assuming, because I heard you say weddings and birthday parties, I'm assuming residential or individual people will be able, if we decide to move forward, will be able to lease these lots as well.
Right, and that's ultimately what I would like for us to do, and so from what I've heard so far from both directors, that we kind of want to go individual use as opposed to like long-term use. I think there are long-term conversations. We do have some funds that are coming in, and we do have some opportunities that may be coming in for what we would like to see long-term, but in the short term, we could generate revenue off of the space by allowing these opportunities.
Okay, another point of discussion would be, I guess the patrolling of that. I'm not sure if that's something that our police department will be responsible for. If there's any additional requirements, like off duty or anything like that, when there are specific events that are being held there, if liquor is being sold, those kinds of things that might require police input or police patrolling, something that we should look at. In addition to that, are we interested at all at doing this in offering a discounted rate if you're a business in the town, if you're a resident in the town? We offering any incentive to our residents or our business owners to take advantage of these available lots? Should be part of the
I
conversation.
mean, if that's what we would like to see, I can work on drafting something similar. Some portions of special event funding application that most municipalities use. And then I'll look at the Denton Johnson's leasing, like the lease opportunities, and then kind of put something together. But I kind of just wanted to hear from you all, like, do we want to do a long term, do we want to do a short term? So that's kind of, I'll bring both options to the table.
And then I guess my last point of discussion is any legal restrictions that there might be. I know for certain types of events as a community, we may or may not want to encourage certain types of events that come through. So if ABC entity comes through and they promote a type of activity that we don't want to see in our community, or we would rather not see in our community, do we have any legal rights to kind of restrict what kind of actions happen at these lots? I'm assuming they would fall under the same as the Department of Recreation with the other facilities that we have for rent, but are there any legal ramifications that we should be considering if we decide to move forward with this?
And that's something that Ms. Rose and I did have some preliminary conversations about, and there can be restrictive use with regards to the lots. In addition, there can be requirements that if there's a certain side event that they have to come with their own insurance and things of that nature as well. So there will certainly parameters that can be put in place depending on the type of event that's being put on, and the criteria is put in place by this board in conjunction with Ms. Rose, and we can construct it from there.
I would like to assume that after our discussion, once you kind of put something together, it'll come back before the board before we open it up for applicant and whatnot. Okay. That's all I have.
The only thing that I wanted to add, like you're saying, should it be individual or should it be long term? I think in the first year, it'll be good that it's not restricted long term, so that people can see what the pattern of usage is, and then we can maybe come to a better decision.
So I heard you say you talked to the owner of the club. So for parking, have you talked to planning yet?
So currently under our current codes, there aren't any restrictions, and we are, obviously the town of Beaverville will be going through long fall in the next couple of months, but there aren't restrictions. But it's kind of, and planners hate hearing this word, but it's the kind of the bad part of it is, like, you're here, you're existing, and if you're opening and you're not changing, so if you do not change your use, no new restrictions can come up. So if your building is existing and this is what you're doing, the only thing that would stop it is if you stop the usage, or you change the uses and you stop it for 6 months, right? So there's a current use, and those are bigger planning questions that we're still having.
But that's for the building. I'm talking about this just a lot, right? So how many vehicles can we park there? If you say it can be used for parking, what's your estimation? Well, that's what I'm saying. Have you talked to planning and all that?
No, because I wanted to have that conversation with the board, because I didn't want to go and jump and have the conversation with planning without, if the board wanted to go that direction.
But I think that's a fair assessment, because you said you're gonna have parties there. So if you're gonna have parties and a lot of parking there, how much parking can be there? Because it gotta be regulations there to be able to control that and all that. So that's why I'm asking that question.
I'll make sure if that's on the list.
Yeah, to use this for parking, you have to upgrade these 2 lots for lighting. Make sure the grounds are well kept, manholes or any wires sticking out of the ground. I think set the tank back there somewhere. Yeah, make sure we got all that stuff taken care of. We try to put about policing, but we definitely do lighting if you use the park. And I don't think that if I use the parking, I don't think there'll be an event that same day, or if this person leases out for parking for this day. So that means I can't rent it out because this other person listening anymore. So we gotta make sure we don't bump heads with these listening or rental agreements that we're doing. This 2 lots. So my first thing is get the lighting and get the parking check for safety on our end. Not one about, do you have insurance? We gotta make sure that we have a lot of security. So that if anything happens, we will be like it. It don't matter if I have insurance, not, I will still sue you because you own property. See, that's how it works, you know. So we need to make sure we got our ducks in a row. That's all I have.
Anyone else? Okay, go down to board decisions. First, we have approval, item number 4, approval resolution CRA R 2024-11, approving the funding agreement for the paint, plan, and pay program at 134 Clark Street in the amount of $2,400. Ms. Rose?
Do you have to read?
Yeah, I have to read it.
You go.
Resolution CRA-R 2024-11, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, TOPRA, Eatonville, Florida, Board of Directors approving a funding agreement for the paint, plant, and pave program at 134 Clark Street in the amount of $2,400, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
This evening, we have received our first application for the funding of we approved funding in the month of February for the Take Plan and Pay program. We have received our first application for 134 Clark Street. In your packet is the full application. The owner has requested to use 2 different vendors to do the work, which includes removing a tree, stump grinding, and planting sabals, Christmas palms, and crepe myrtles.
I have a question. Yes.
Do we have to take a vote before discussion or?
Good discussion.
Oh, okay.
Good discussion.
I think I've asked this question before. Cutting down trees, is that a part of this program?
Yeah, because it's the plant, it's part of the planting of it. And in fact, this tree has had hazardous issues, and so the owner is seeking assistance in the tree. There are some, in your packet, it shows that there are some limbs that are caught in the utility line.
Any other discussion?
Yes. Since we are all about homegrown, did we get an estimate from Grant Street?
So the way the program is structured, we are requiring the applicant to do their own seeking of contractors. We are not, CRA is not doing any of that. And these are who the owner brought in.
I understand that, but maybe we need to make it in our criteria that if we have, not saying that you gotta go with this person or this firm, but we have services that are provided for the city owned businesses in a sense. I feel as though we are not forcing, but here are a list of some of the businesses that are in town that can provide this tree cutting, stump grinding services for you. And then you can include that in on your, if you get to, here's one for us. Because, you know, Mr. Grant and his tree cutting service has been a part of this community for years. And to give him the first opportunity to see if he could help his business and help a city resident in town of Valley. So that should have been a no-brainer.
Okay. I have a question. Are any permits necessary for the tree work?
It is. There's a tree removal process.
Okay. And then, I see the applicant is here tonight. Is it okay to have her come to the podium for question? Is that okay with y'all?
Okay.
Answer the question. I know that the packet for the application is, pretty healthy. I just want to face to face, want to make sure that you understand the requirements of the grant, the lien, all that stuff that's going into, the assistance that's coming as far as helping beautify you.
You can make clear whatever you think I don't understand, because I might not understand. I just know the town got access to a certain amount of money. It could be up to 5,000 per homeowner, clean up and make everything look better. So I got this oak tree that my grandmother planted that's gotta be 100 years old. It's already taken down the power lines once. I tried to get Duke. They trimmed it a little bit, and they're like, it's not gonna quite hit the line, so we're gonna leave it up. The tree is dead. And so I worked on it twice, but the quotes I got were a little more than what I had available to take it all the way down. Okay, this is it takes up most of the front yard, so it's gonna be embarrassing looking. And then, because you can see my property when you drive down Kennedy, I thought, let's not be embarrassing. Let's try to put in something to plant some trees and to take the other tree down.
And you have a copy of the application packet as well? Like how we have, I don't know if you know what we have in our packet, but it includes, your application, sign, your estimates and a couple of, did you get a copy of that as well from us?
But what I turned into you,
Right, like, did you get a copy of your filled out application that has all the requirements and all of that stuff in there from our side?
well, I filled out the original application. I don't know after you guys went through it if I was supposed to get something else back, but I have been instructed very well by this young lady here. And I don't, if there's any other questions or anything.
Ms. Rose, if you could just make sure she has a copy of her application as well as the program requirements. I know we have a copy of it, but just so that,
She did everything.
okay,
Yeah, okay.
that's all. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
One more question is, I know you take the tree down, you put the tree back up. I mean, that's the thing that's supposed to happen, right?
Yeah.
Move the trees, plant the trees. Okay.
And then she's putting additional trees.
Any other discussion? Attorney Jackson, and I guess this is where Director Creighton may be going. Because there have been issues prior in, these grants and all that. Do we have all the documentation in place to ensure that we don't run into, some difficulties we had before? Once the funds, if it's approved and all that stuff?
From our review of the packet, and speaking with Ms. Rose, yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
I mean, we'll probably have that in the past.
Understanding the liens, the removal of the liens, that kind of thing, the expiration.
What's that about that? You get a lien on it, you get some money from us, you can get a lien.
I should
So I
make
think
sure-
everybody should know that when you get money from the municipality or whoever,
They
they got a
should.
certain amount
Yeah.
of time for it to go away.
Yeah,
So, but
and I hear you, Director Washington, but we know fully that it wasn't done properly.
that's
and all
what, no,
that.
no. I don't think I disagree, but
That's fine.
it was done.
Just to be proactive and to make sure that both the applicant and the agency are on the same page is why I asked.
You know that paperwork is lien, so when you get money, you know it's lien. So
Do we have a motion? Second. It's been moved and properly second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Number 5, we have approval resolution CRA R 2024-12, approving an arts and their submissions to complete a mural on the town of Evil pool wall. Ms. King?
Resolution CRA-R 2024-12, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, TOCRA, Eatonville, Florida, Board of Directors approving an artist, their submission, and entering into a mural agreement to complete a mural on the Town of Eatonville pool wall, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
Ms. Rose?
During the January meeting, it was approved to do an artist call. We had several artists reach out and request for information. We only received one applicant and one submission. It is in your packet this evening. If you have any questions. There's also an agreement. Cover everything.
Any discussion?
Question. I did see some terminology about the final design. I'm assuming that's gonna come back before you or this board. Okay, because that was my next question. Is that?
The final design is in the packet. So this is so tonight in your packet is the submission. The for the actual mural artist, and then to approve the person who submitted this drawing, if that's what you all decide.
So just to verify, if we are okay with the artist, but not the art, are we approving both tonight, or are we approving them individually?
The resolution is for both. If we wanted to separate them, we can. That's what the agenda item is. It says to accept the art that was submitted as well as the artist.
Feedback from this.
Dr. Randolph?
Yes, this art is being donated, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's a good thing. So it's not costing us. When I went on the web and I searched, other murals around the country, schools, and most of them are kind of more or less like this type of design. But what I wanted to see is a little more inclusive of the community, of the pool. These are all females. And, I'm looking for more of a diverse, update. I think this is great. But I think we need to be more inclusive of pool as far as those who will be using the pool. So that way it reflects the town and all of our youth as well as our seniors.
So are you requesting? Cause I mean,
Just
art
an
is in the
adjustment.
art is in the behold of the eye, because this one could say that this is a young lady and a young man at the side. One of the stipulations that were placed during the January meeting was that it had to been Eatonville African American culture. What's presented are two young Black children with water waves in their hair in the tree.
I'm just saying they're all females.
Okay.
You know, just a little adjustment to be inclusive of more people. Of fewer people. It reflects our community.
I agree with Director Randolph. I mean, I wasn't sure if this was just like, a sample, or if this was the final submission of art. I guess somewhat like Ms. Randolph, when I think about our pool, I'm thinking that it will have something resembling or symbolizing Eatonville in some capacity, and or even the pool. I mean, I guess I understand now that the waves in the hair are water. I did not know that at first. But that's why I asked if this was just a submission or if this was the art. But I mean, I'm grateful for the donated time and the donated labor. I just was kind of anticipating that I would see a little Eatonville in there, and melanin tone. I was just anticipating I would see a little bit more Eatonville in the photo or in the art. Like you said, it's in the eye of the beholder. But oh, I did have another question. I saw in the town obligations, section 4, I think it is, providing a lift. Is that something that we already have in our possession, or is that something that we're gonna be responsible? I saw it's something that we're providing. Is that something that the CRA is purchasing, or is that something that we already have in?
That'd be something that we would rent, for the artists to go up and down.
Okay.
To get to the, so when you say more inclusive in Eatonville, can you give an example? Can you give some examples so that I can, and if we go this route, we can let any artist know exactly what we're looking for?
Off the top of my head, I mean, the first thing I think about, of course, is the town emblem, the mural, or whatever. I mean, I'm not expecting to see that on the wall per se, but how it just highlights different things about the community. It has a church in there, it has the water tower in there, it has the orange groves in there, it's got the workers in there. And of course, that represents the town in its entirety, and we're talking pool, but I don't know, maybe something a little bit more summer-ish, a little more poolish, a little bit more Eatonville.
What is that? I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Look, yeah, and I'm not an artist, so I'm not gonna tell you,
You bringing stuff up, what is it?
I'm not saying certain hues in the background. When I saw this, I did not think Eatonville pool is all I'm saying. And I'm just one voice and one vote or whatever, but I would like that when our residents go out there and they see what's on the wall, it feels familial to them, like we're Eatonville residents. This in some way, shape or form resembles Eatonville or the pool, summertime, something like that. Just my thoughts, if anybody else wants to chip in.
So would you like me to ask the artist to put our logo on the pool?
I don't mean to tell the artist how to do their art in any capacity. I don't mean to do that at all. I'm just, as an outsider looking in, I wouldn't think Eatonville or a pool is possible. this week. I don't know how anybody else.
When I saw this, I know we're limited on what a artist that are donating their time in, and we're buying the paint, am I correct? So I know we're limited on what they can do and if they're donating their time, but as well as Director Creighton and Director Randolph, I was thinking instead of that tree, maybe the water tower or maybe the emblem, but I know since they're donating their time, if we have to maybe find some funding or direct some funds so that we can get what we want to have inclusive to represent us as Eatonville and when we're playing the pool. I don't mind young ladies or I guess a girl and a guy, but something maybe that instead of the tree, maybe the water tower or the emblem. And I know that it's going to require more pain and more time. So this board just got to be prepared if it's a little bit more that we can, get some funding to this artist to put on the wall what we want to represent us as Eatonville as far as that is concerned.
I have a couple. So if we're going to do a hold harmless if we do provide any equipment. So do a hold harmless. The second is, and I brought this up to you before, but I don't know if you ever found out the difference between a painter that is used to painting on canvas versus a painter that's used to, doing a mural that we want to last through the elements.
So I reached out to
There's
the.
another technique.
So I reached out to the United Arts of Central Florida, and the average lifespan for any mural in England is 5 to 10 years. And so that's what's written in the agreement. As far as there really is no way of saying like whether a person can or can't do a mural, right? It's kind of scaling from doing a canvas because this was a hand painted drawing that the artist submitted. United Arts of Central Florida has committed to ensuring that we can collaborate with some artists who are willing to walk through and ensure that if the artist hasn't done a mural before, that the artist is aware. The artist has stated, and I'm not sure if she's here this evening, I don't think so. The artist is, she is an Eatonville resident. She stated that she's done like walls, like in houses and stuff like that. But this would be a first time for a mural. But United Arts Central Florida said it is not that hard to transmute from just upscaling, and she had people that would be willing to coach and make sure that we get what we're trying to achieve.
And then the final one, kind of feel like Director Creighton, I don't feel
And not to beat a dead horse, but and I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it, but even if it's not specifically Eatonville, even if it's not our water tower, something with I don't know, maybe a heavier presence of African American history. Maybe, and again, I'm no artist. Let's make that very clear, but maybe something paying homage to African American history in general. Maybe if not Eatonville specific.
So we said Eatonville specific, so.
I thought so.
Yeah, we did. That was one of the things, that was one of the last motions that we changed, that had to be African American Eatonville culture. So if we wanna, and so I heard, before I talk, Director Washington wanted to speak.
As y'all know, I don't support anything with the pool. Because I think that, we give the, citizens a disservice. Because we need a aquatic center, not repairing the pool. So, I mean, I'm just gonna vote, but I think that we give the citizens a disservice that we remodel the pool instead of giving them a new pool in our town. And that's a disservice, that's a mural or whatever. We need an aquatic center, not just a pool. So that's what I feel about the pool situation and the mural. I don't think the other mural we had to say so about it. That's on the tennis ball. I don't know if that was Eatonville or whatever was there. We had no say so about that one. But trying in on this mural here. So it is what it is with the board, but like I said, I don't support anything on that ground because we need a new pool in the ground, not a pool near a park center. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I just want to reemphasize, when I said diverse, Eatonville is no longer all Black or African American, whatever we want to call it. We are becoming to be a diverse community now. We have families that are living here who are different other than who we are in this room here. So that's the reason why I had mentioned a diverse mural, I think would be appropriate. But there's gonna be children there from Hispanic, Latino communities, Black communities, white, etc. So it needs to reflect that. And not so much about the water tower. We already know who we are as far as the water tower and the history of the town. But we're talking about a separate project for a swimming pool. And that's what it needs to be. We have girls, we have boys here, and they just need to reflect the whole picture of all of the people, not just a few people.
But one more thing, I'd like to know what the trees, maybe giving some background, what does it all mean? Like, so,
I mean,
or put something else there.
based on the conversation, if you all wanna vote to have the tree with kind of the logo as the sunset, like right off in the sunset, which is kind of similar to what the logo has, the sun that's in Idaho with sunset, sunrise, I can ask the artist and then I can send out an updated. The pool at this point, the grand opening is set for Memorial Weekend, and so according to the timeline that was set in January, we're kind of a week behind, but again, of course, up to the board. We want to put that stipulation that the artist sends in an updated with the town logo as opposed to the tree. And then I said, make sure you all get a copy of it and then we kind of start the process, or if you all don't want to go this route and we want to just pay an artist, we can visit that route as well.
So, unlike Director Washington, I do support the pool. We need stuff here for our kids. I will say again, though, what I'm not in support of is it coming from the CRA. I still say that this is not, a CRA project. It should be a town of Beaver project, and we should put skin in the game and do it on the other side and not on this side. I think we're trying to circumvent the system, and we trying to circumvent, that's when you run into roadblocks and what you get. So, personally, I am for having a mural, but I think it should be paid for on the town side. And I think we should put an artist, because then you can tell the artist what you're looking for and let the creativity come out. Any other discussion?
But, Attorney, on that particular issue, town side, CRA side, helping slumming light, how does that figure in to the pool?
Not necessarily in addressing slum and blight, but just from the current CRA plan that's in place where it talks about themed development and things like that. I believe that it does fit within that constructing that framework. The one issue that was discussed when it first came up was the painting of the wall, maintenance, or whatever the case may be. And I think that was a bigger issue that came up from that conversation. And then in talking to Ms. Rose and going through the process of what the CRA plan says, of what the town can expend funds for, I believe this fits within the constructs of the CRA plan.
Do we have a motion?
So,
It's been moved past second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay.
Can I ask a question first? Are we gonna add, are you okay with me adding the logo? Asking the artist to add the logo instead of the tree? Cause I wanna make sure what we're voting on, cause there was a lot of.
We just passed. We just passed.
Okay.
Let's do a roll call, cause I heard it. Can you roll call, Miss?
No, that's important to what you just said. So what are we doing with the logo?
Yes, I'm gonna request the artist to take out the tree and put the logo.
Don't just ask the artist to give another idea. It says on the artist what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, give us a update first. Maybe just several of them, so we can, because these are digital copies according to the information here.
So for clarity on,
Vote has already been.
right,
Yeah, I'm just saying
I'm
that's
not
why.
going to put another motion on the floor at the second vote, but.
cause I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we doing roll call?
Yeah, I'm waiting on y'all to finish the conversation.
Oh, the conversation is done. We were gonna do roll call.
You ready to do roll call?
Okay, the roll call is on what? The
That's-
tree?
Resolution.
Okay.
Including the tree and art.
Right. Ms. King.
Director Quinn,
Nay.
Director Washington,
Nay.
Director Daniels,
Yes.
Director Williams,
No.
Director Gardner,
Nay.
Vice Chair,
No, nay.
and, Chair Daniels.
Nay. Motion passed.
That's what it was first.
You think that's not what it was first?
No.
That was.
Next, we have approval of resolution CRA R 2024-13, approval of the demolition of 225 West Kennedy Boulevard. Ms. King.
Resolution CRA R 2024-13. Resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, Topra, Eatonville, Florida, Board of Directors approving the demolition of 225 West Kennedy Boulevard, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Ms. Rose.
In your packet, you all have the building, Universal Engineering Services is our building official organization. They did a site visit. We have received several complaints about 225 West Kennedy, and its condition. So in your packet, you have the report of it being unsafe and it's being deemed unsafe. And you have a quote for demolition of the building as well as the storage unit that's on the far end of the parcel.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Director Randolph.
Yes. Okay, first of all, I'd like to ask, is this property owned by the town or the CRA?
CRA.
Now, on the correspondence for the meeting, the last meeting, it said here by Attorney Ryan Knight at the last meeting that Attorney Jackson received a letter regarding the Dixon property, and he is working to prepare a response. It is requested from Mrs. Rose to ensure that a letter and legal response and written audit communication is sent to the board. We have not received that information yet. And we'd like to know exactly what was in the letter regarding the Dixon property that was received.
I don't have anything to turn you there.
With regards to the letter that was sent from the attorney representing the Dixon property, the request was for the property to be returned back to the estate. I was unable to formulate a response because I don't know the wishes of the board. I need to know what the board would like to do with regards to the property. There has been some differences in what should be done with the property, and I just need direction from the board on what should be done. My position, much as it is with Ms. Rose, is that the property is owned by the CRA. It's also my belief that that a response should be drafted and prepared, indicating that the property belongs to the CRA and will remain with the CRA.
Okay, so. Yeah, okay, I think you answered my question. I was concerned about the property rights. Has that been cleared up?
The property, as far as everything that I've seen, and as far as the legal proceeding that has gone forward, has established that the property is owned by the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
That's gonna take care of all the structures.
Yes, and they're gonna haul away everything. And then I may come back to you all and ask you all for anything at the back, or the end of the fence is broken at this time.
It's the descript, the statement that was made that one shed is,
So yeah, this demo quote includes the shed as well as the actual door.
yeah, but the determination of the lot as well. Because we're dealing with the,
I've not been told of any
Oh.
issues according to, so I've heard the conversations and it's always a rumor mill, but according to the way it is platted and it is marked in the property appraiser, is the current shed sits on the property line, the property, it's actually two parcels in one. The front end is the commercial, and then it spreads out to residential, and where the fence lines are is according to where the property appraisers,
That's
property lines are.
Attorney Jackson, no question. Attorney Jackson, what does the family, the Dixon family say about this situation?
The Dixon family is of the position that the property should be returned back to the estate. It's their position that at the time that the property was conveyed, that Mr. Dixon was not fully competent. I don't know if you all recall, but I did do some research in this regard. I also spoke with Alan Roberts, who was actually the former director of the Garden Lighting Program. The bigger question that comes from this is, if a person is deemed incompetent in one aspect of their life, can they be competent in other aspects of their life? And based on my conversation with him, the response is yes, they can be competent in other aspects of their life if they're deemed not competent in one other aspect. There was no legal determination that Mr. Dixon was not competent at the time that the property was conveyed. The one issue was that there was some indication in a meeting that there was a concern of the board members that Mr. Dixon was not competent and that they wanted that to be checked on. The attorney at the time for the CRA, from my understanding, went through his analysis. He made a determination that Mr. Dixon could proceed forward. He actually drafted the documentation for Mr. Dixon to proceed forward. And so my position is that if the board was acting under the advice of its attorney, then the board would help in that regard.
Attorney, I won't be supporting this endeavor. Being from Edenville, having interaction with Mr. Dixon. Anyone that claims to be, and no disrespect, a rescuer of the shuttle astronauts at the time, to me, will not be capable, able of giving over their property without someone educating them on what happened. Living day to day, maybe going to the store, maybe having friends to come over and stay at your house. Maybe you're competent in that. But when it comes down to a legal issue of hundreds of thousands of dollars that could be handed over this, I'm not in favor of this, and I was hoping that this board will hopefully find a way of letting the Dixon family make that decision. Maybe somehow figuring out a way we can get the money that we put back, because I do understand, in slight understanding that what was happening with the executive director at that time, trying to save the land of Eden, but I always thought there was a better way of going about it than taking advantage, and maybe that's a harsh word, of Mr. Dixon. But anybody and everybody that has had contact with Mr. Dixon, to a certain extent, understood his mental capacity when it comes down to this. Now, we can go to the records and we can show that the others have thought that he was a fireman or thought he was something else, because we knew that he wasn't. So I was hoping that this board would find a way of letting the Dixon family make that decision on what they want to do with the property. We find a way of somehow getting our funds back, but also letting that family make that decision on what should happen with this property.
Any other discussion?
Go ahead, oh, yes.
I just got a question. Where was the Dixon family, when everything was going on? You know, that's, you know, was asking the question.
Board member Williams, I'm going to say it again, that I thought that we should, if we got it, that's cool. I understand. I understand in a sense why that board did it, but now that we have the opportunity to make it right with that family, I say they're at the table now. So let's figure out a way of how to get the money, recoup what we lost as far as the town, give it back to them and let them make that decision on what they would want to do with that property, since they were not at the table at the time. We do know that Tommy was at the table at that time. He was not in his mental capacity to make that decision on such a monetary decision as giving away his property like that, or doing whatever we did for the town to get it. Since the town does have it, or the CRA has it now, I say let us do the right thing. We got it now, so let's figure out, Dixon family representative, how do we get this back to you, but get our money back of what we've done as the town. Keep the town in the land and let you make a decision on what you want to do. Then let's agree that we're not at the table, but did we make every avenue to find them? Did we find a representative that could represent Mr. Tommy Dixon in making this decision? Because I guarantee if you said, Mr. Dixon, gonna get this up and we'll give you a piece of bubble gum. You say, all right, you know, whatever y'all wanna do, I'm gonna get my roof done or whatever. That's the capacity that he was in. We all know that. So now, and I keep saying, let's go back to it. We know that now. Let's do it right as a town, as a board. Let's figure out well how to get the funds that we lost, get them back. Make sure that the Dixon family is represented and figuring out what they want to do. That's it.
I'm saying these things here. Mr. Dixon knew what was going on at the time. He went to several people to save his property. From Bruce, my junior, Bruce, my partner, another attorney, I think they was partners together. I can think his name at the moment. Then he went to Chief Jenkins to save his house. And Mr. Jenkins sent me down to the CRA building. That's how that operated. That's how the CRA got involved. The CRA didn't go out looking for this property. He came to the CRA for that property. So I know he knew what CRA building was. So I know he knows where everything's at in this town. Yes, he had a disability. I don't think CRA took advantage of that. But if we saw this board, we're going to get stuff back. And like Mr. Director Whitney said, where was the family at the time? His property was going up on the auction about that same week. So if we didn't have it, somebody else would have it. Point blank and simple. We won't be talking about this right now. Somebody else would have the man property in doing what they want to do in the town. So we got control of it, and that's what we're supposed to do. If you can't make good decisions, we don't need to be the board. That's one reason I said we don't need to be the board, because it's about doing business here. We're not being good stewards. We want to get something back, and the family wasn't involved in the first place. If they was there saying, yeah, let's get it, it's not one iota family member came to that CRA meeting and said, oh, that's my uncle, my cousin, I want to help you. Nobody. No one. So if this board want to do that now, that's not a good decision. We need to tear it down and decide, look, I think people standing there going in and out to somebody till we find a body in it one day. So we need to demo regardless what you want to do. We need to demo this property ASAP, honestly. But we can't make those strong decisions. You don't need to sit up here. That's anybody. You gotta make a strong decision. And I'm not in for getting the land back to nobody. I'm not. So if you feel that way, that's on you. That's all I have.
Like I said before, we want to do the right thing. Let's find a family member, get our funds back that we spent out, and how we lose it.
We did the right thing. We let him stay in the house for free. He stayed in the house for free until he passed. That's what the agreement was. He had no rent. He had no nothing.
I'm trying to show respect of him.
There's no respect. If they respect,
one of the is speaking, the other should hush and be quiet until the other is done. So it's a matter of respect. Now, once again, to this board, I won't be in favor of this. We need to figure out a way to get the property back to the family with recouping of the monies that we spent out. Then the town won't be losing out, and then the family can make that decision.
I have a comment. So I know that the item up for discussion is for demo, but considering that regardless of the differences of opinion, we were waiting on a response from legal, I think we should potentially table this discussion until we come to an agreement as a board, or we make a decision as a board about what we want to do with the property, because it seems premature to demo a property when potentially you might be having a discussion about giving it back.
Who have discussed getting it back? Make a decision, go to up or down. That's how I go.
I agree. Let's go ahead and vote.
That's one thing we went on the letter from the attorney.
We're not talking about where the property will be at the end of the night. We're talking about whether or not we want to demo it.
We need
So
to
if you want
demo
to vote up or vote it down, that's fine, but who it belongs to is
us.
clearly not a part of tonight's conversation.
It's on the CRA. Well, who the property belongs to? The attorney?
At the stance right now, that indicated the legal rights to the property as it stands at this moment is with the town reveals.
And we're the stewards of the board, and we didn't make a decision. So you see the pictures on, this?
We're waiting on information.
There's no information to wait on.
I mean, he just said that, she just read that we was waiting on a response from the attorney. The attorney said that he was unable to respond due to lack of direction from the board. So I
You
mean,
need to wait on somebody. They should have been handed in if they wanted to save it.
maybe.
Thank you. So I don't think it's a question of who owns the property. The initial transaction went through the court. When you filed for the eviction, they had to identify the town CRA as the owners of that property in order to serve that. When the sheriffs came out, they looked for that paper. So even if we don't say we own it, everybody else was saying that we own it. And right now it does pose probably a safety hazard. And if anyone gets sued, it's not gonna be the family, it's gonna be the town CRA. So I don't see a question. If someone wants to, it should have already gone to the courts if they were gonna fight it. You know, I mean, right now, everyone has identified the CRA as the owner of that property in it, and I'm for the demolition.
And if I may, just real quick, the question that was posed by the attorney for the Dixon family is, or the demand is to return the property back to the family. That's the part that this board has a decision on. It's not a question of does the CRA own the property? That's been established. There's no question that as it stands right now. The question is, based on the request of the family, does this board want to return the property back to the family? So that's the part that I can't respond to, unless this board tells me we don't want to return it or we do want to return it. I don't want to put something down either way on behalf of this board without this board telling me this is what we want to do. That's not a decision I can make. Can I say that the board owns the property? Yes, I can say that, but I can't respond to her and say the board will not return the property or the board will return the property. So.
But what's in front of us tonight is them on the property, not giving the property back, whatever. And I'm not in favor of getting the property back regardless. That's what's in front of us now.
Right.
When them on the property and you can fight about it, you want to give it back, and that's on you in the near future. So I tell you that there.
I would like to also add that I have received complaints from neighbors about the property. There's been fears of people being in and out the property. It is, as you can see from the pictures, it's in horrible condition. I have had complaints of residents saying that we're not being good stewards and being good property owners by property looking the way it does, which is why a demo is brought before you all today. And then it will be brought before the board what we would like to moving forward. But to be good stewards to the town of Eatonville, we would like that. So the request today is to demo the properties, the structures that are on the property.
Do you think that we did our due diligence in securing the property? Because normally when you close out a property like that or you evict people out, you go through and board it up, keep people getting in. Did we do our fair share on that?
We did. Well, we evicted them back in January, and that was done because I was the one who had to serve with when the sheriffs were serving them to remove the people who were legally squatting in the residence because Mr. Dixon had been gone, and there were still people who were given over a year and change to remove from the property, and they still live there.
So let me ask you, Ms. Rose, and I'm gonna talk about a couple things that, yeah, I think is to talk about the demo. When did you become abreast of this?
Of what?
Of this whole Dixon property and who brought this to you for demolition and all that?
January when I started.
January when you started. So we didn't do the demolition thing, the order stating that it was unsafe until March 5th of this year, correct?
That's correct.
But the proposal you have for demolition was in December. So how was it in January?
Well, what proposal? I wasn't working here in December.
The Champion Service of Florida, the proposal that's in here, is dated December 4th, 2023.
Where did you see that? Oh, that's on their behalf. I'll make sure that they correct that. I just received that and I can forward the email.
So it's already been working before you got here?
No, this is brand new. So I contacted them and I can give you the date that I contacted them. That's my fault for not looking at the proposal at the wrong date. They just copy and paste things. I can forward the email that was received. I called them to go out and do the demo, and none of this was before me.
Okay. And true, we are here to talk about the demo, but it's other background issues. For a board, according to CRA, it's supposed to be 5 people on board on the evening of that vote, and that's just my recollection of it. There was only a 3-member board, so it wasn't even a legal board. So that's where my tugging come in at, that if we're doing stuff, we gotta make sure we're doing it in decent order. As you said, Director Washington, so things have to be done in order. It was a 3-member board when Florida statute says you have to have a minimum of 5. So how did that was able to go through that night is my question. So I think we do need to possibly, as Director Chris said, table it, but we can move the motion forward and discuss the legalities later. If there's any other discussion,
I have a question, two questions. Who put this on the agenda?
I did.
I have another one, since this was under the other board, that was dissolved by the CRA. And we have a new member here on the board who was a part of these, transactions and, actions that were taken during that particular time. Who made the recommendation for Mr. Williams? He was the
The
chairman of the board.
Orange County Commissioner. That's where it comes from.
So I'm saying, who made the recommendation? Someone had to make a recommendation here to the county.
The clerk
So
can
who,
answer
who
the,
did that?
the clerk can answer board decisions and how those go.
The clerk can't answer anything that she does not have.
My point is that all of these things that we're discussing had to do with the other board under the CRA. Okay, that board has been dissolved.
okay, what we talking about
Okay,
again?
now, during that time, that all these deficiencies and inefficiencies had happened during that time, Mr. Donovan was the chairman of the board. Was he or was he not?
I'm not aware.
Yes, I will.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I want to say with this, we are now in the process of dealing with the way how things were done back then when you were on the board. I'm not saying that you were personally responsible.
We're talking about this.
All of this.
Let's keep order, everybody.
All of this is related to what I'm asking here. And that is, we're trying to make a decision based upon the deficiencies of how things were handled. And I just want to know who made the recommendation for Mr. Williams to be on the CRA board?
I got one question.
Orange County.
No,
That don't have anything to do with what's on the agenda. We're talking about demo of 225 West Kennedy Boulevard.
Excuse me, I'm asking a question.
Who knows the answer?
Well, the answer is given, Orange County,
How did Orange County?
Not the director,
Let's keep.
I just-
Let's keep order,
No,
everybody.
answer the
Let's keep order.
question.
He can answer no
I
question.
mean, what is it?
Direct Washington.
What is there to
Let
hide?
him talk and then I'll let you, hold on, Director Gardner. We'll let Director Randolph talk and then we'll.
she's asking a question.
What is there to hide?
He said, okay, so you have an answer, Director?
Director
So
Randolph.
Director Gardner has the answer.
Anybody made a
Director
Director Randolph, Director Gardner, I think has the
In the
answer.
past, the mayors have always had input on who's on this board. I think that you would agree with that, correct?
All you have
I
to,
was given
yes.
4 names. I gave 4 names to,
Okay, that's all you have to say. That's all I
you never
asked.
asked me. You
No, I'm asking
assumed.
Well,
Yeah.
out here publicly, who made the recommendation? If it was you, just say, I did. That's it.
well, actually, Commissioner Christine Moore made the recommendation. She was provided 4 names. She went through a whole entire interview process. And based on her interview process, because I was here, I was at the MLK parade where we had the discussion and she said who she was moving forward with. So she had four individuals from this town that she interviewed and she picked who she wanted. And then she made the recommendation and she put it on the Board of County Commissioners. But she did receive 4 community members from this town. She interviewed and then she picked who she wanted.
Yeah, I understand, Mrs. Rose. Thank you for explaining the process. I do understand. My question was not that what you gave me. My question was who made the recommendation? Now, the mayor said she made the recommendation, so that's it. She
Okay.
made the recommendation. I didn't need all of that. I understood that.
Alright.
Thank you, Mayor, for answering my question.
Any other discussion on number 6? Do we have a motion for approval of resolution CRA R 2024-13? It's moved in second. All in favor? All opposed? Nay. Roll call.
Director Britt? Nay. Director Washington?
Aye.
Director R. Daniel?
Nay.
Director Williams?
Approved, yeah.
Director Gardner?
Aye.
Vice Chair Randolph?
Nay.
Chair Daniels.
Nay. Next, we have approval resolution CRA 2024-14, approving the transfer of funds and amount of $200,000 to pilot infill home loan program for property owners of 3 or more lots with annual interest rate of 7%. Ms. King,
Resolution CRA R 2024-14. Resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, TOCRA. $200,000 for resolution CRA R 2019-21, the pilot infill home loan program. Property owners of 3 lots or more. Setting an interest rate 7%, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
Ms. Rose,
In 2019, the board approved the pilot infill home loans program, and today I'm asking for funding so we have several vacant lots within the town. And we are providing assistance. As you all know, there's a housing crisis in the country right now, in our region right now. And so this is an attempt to address our housing and as well as bridge the wealth gap.
discussion.
This program predates my appointment to the board. Can any of the former board members or the director give any additional information, such as when it was approved in 2019, if anybody took advantage of the program? Is this a copy paste of what that program was then to now? And if there are any legal restrictions regarding specifically section number 4, when we speak about Eatonville residents being given the first right to purchase the land.
So there was no funding placed in the program. There were no guidelines placed, so guidelines have been created, as well as the funding process. And what was the third question?
If legal could talk about section 4, about the Eatonville residents, if we'll run into any, especially with HUD funding and stuff like that, if we'll run into any issues with prioritizing Eatonville residents.
So one clarification, this is not HUD funding, this is CRA funds that we're using to export using here. And what we're doing is we're not forcing Eatonville, we're giving them first right to purchase.
Okay, so the comment about the sales price in accordance with Orange County and the HUD cap doesn't have anything to do with, I know it doesn't have any HUD funding in it, but we won't run into, and legal can attest to that.
No, what I'm ensuring in the program is that they do not sell above what affordable classified by Orange County, which is set by, agreed upon by Orange County and HUD.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion for approval? Second. Moved and properly second, all in favor? All opposed? Nay. Roll call.
Director Crick,
Nay.
Director Washington. Director Daniels, Daniels, nay. Director Williams.
Aye.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Vice Chair Randolph.
Nay.
Chair Daniels.
Nay. Next, we have approval resolution CRA R 2024-15, approval of a small business facade site improvement and adaptive reuse programs. Ms. King.
We're talking, resolution 5.45.
15, right? It had a. No, you're right, I'm saying 5, sorry.
Resolution CRA R 2024-5, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, TOCRA, Eatonville, Florida, Board of Directors approving a small business facade site improvement and adaptive reuse program for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
This is the exact same thing that was brought last month. No changes have been made. The concern was that there were no funding. And item number 15 addresses the funding.
Did this item have any, adjustments in the, I think they're talking about the room in this one, or was it just a grant?
That was a demolition assistant.
Okay, that wasn't this one, okay.
I think it was, maybe it was the last meeting. Can this be, the waste containers? Would that be a part of this?
If the property owner needs to put their, yes, that fencing is a thing, yeah, fencing is an allowable use.
So when you disseminate the information, can that be, will be inclusive on the information that we send out to the business owners?
I can, if you'd like that to be part of the flyer, I can let that be one of the bullet points.
Yeah, because when we look at the expenses, just to have that, what the town, is making everyone comply in that particular area. It could be, most of these businesses, what I, have experienced feedback, they're looking at least several thousands of dollars. Just to do a concrete pad and do the enclosures. So we may want to, that probably would be a good incentive. Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to ask a question, it's not specific to this item relative. I know we were, Ms. King and Ms. Rose, we were in the process of workshopping a homeowners program or housing ownership program. That ties very closely to what we're looking at tonight. Are we still on track to do that, to have those discussions?
I yield to Ms. Rose, who did the,
No one filled out the survey, and requested to be, you were the only one. So
Oh.
if you wanna have a separate workshop, we can. But there hasn't been, you and the mayor were the only ones, and we now have a new board member. And I think the bigger part for me was what did we want to discuss, and I think those are conversations, for us to have, and we can have that once we get to the end and reports. Because right now, the business side.
Yeah, I understand, well, you talking about the infield program?
No, we passed that vote passed already.
No, but I was just saying, just in general, we were talking about multiple programs. I understand, that's why I said it's not specific, but it's relative, because we're talking about funds and stuff. So I know the last meeting, it was a point of mine to say that we want to keep some of our bigger programs at the top of our priority list. And so in the movement of funds and stuff, making funds available for other programs, I want to make sure that those discussions are had so that other programs don't get booted just because we're trying to prioritize some of our bigger projects. So I mean, essentially, I'm in favor of the facade program. However, if we're thinking about just the last discussion item, we're talking about moving funds. We're still talking about having conversations, neither of which was done. So I'm just wondering, are we, as a board, are we still interested in having those conversations? Because I think those conversations affect where else we spend our money.
So with the budget amendment that's on the agenda tonight, it would leave $500,000 in the bank for us to talk about other programs, when we talk about housing.
Okay, just want to make sure we were still talking about it in general. I understand you saying you only got 2 responses. I think maybe we should revisit that because it does affect these other programs.
Do the board understand that, this account should be zero at the end of the year? We don't supposed to save money in this account.
It should.
So we
Start
shouldn't.
talking.
We shouldn't, the money's supposed to be used, all the money's supposed to be used. If you don't use it all, it goes back. That's how it's supposed to go. So use all the money that we can. That's how it's supposed to go.
I'm
So
familiar with that.
big project or little project, let's use the money.
I think we should be responsible in where we put that money, but yeah, spend the money.
It should be
Not
good stewards. We're gonna be good stewards, because the program's laid out. We're not just giving it away.
No,
The
absolutely
program's
not.
laid out.
Priorities.
Yeah, but let's use the money.
Any other discussion? We have a motion for approval resolution CRA R 2024-5. Move. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval resolution CRA R 2024-6, adopting the approving the town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency Demolition Assistance Program. Mrs. King.
Resolution CRA-R 2024-6, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, Eatonville, Florida, Board of Directors adopting and approving demolition assistance program, provided for conflict severability and an effective date.
This item was brought before the board and there were some concerns about lien language. If you look in section 16 of the agenda item, lien language is placed inside of the agenda item. And then funding is also part of the budget amendment. Those are the two concerns, lien language and the budget amendment.
And how much you trying to put in the budget?
$25,000, which
So-
will cover up to five.
It'll be five properties then. Any discussion? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve resolution CRA-R 2024-6?
So,
Second. Move the second, all in favor?
I,
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval of resolution CRA-R 2024-15 with a amended cover sheet that was given to you all on tonight. Ms. King.
Yeah, resolution CRA-2024-15. Resolution of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, Board of Directors adopting budget amendment 1 for fiscal year 2023 and 2024 budget, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
Before you all is a request to transfer, so few changes. The reason why you received the changes, there has been conversation about making sure the budget matches. There have been a transfer of funds that had not happened from December, and I work with the finance department to ensure it was done. So it changed from 593 to 583. That's the change that you see there. The request is for $60,000 for the small business to roughly help 2 businesses. And then the demolition assistance to help 5 properties. Actually, to help 10 properties for a total of $120,000.
Say again. So you're talking about 60,000 and 25,000, correct?
No, 60,000 and 150,000. It's it's 50,000 for 10 properties. We had identified there's roughly 15 properties within the town that needed to be demoed.
So
It'd be 120, it'd be 110 instead of 120, the transfer.
We can have that breakdown again, 50,000 for the.
60,000 for the small business facade that would cover up to 2 programs, and then 50,000 for the demolition assistance that would cover up to 10 properties. Because we're providing up to $5,000 for the demolition assistance.
at a 50% match, right? So if they don't need the whole 5, and we have some carryover, are we open up 11 or 12 properties? Could you say up to 10?
Yes, up to 10, so it could be, that's why it says roughly 10, because
Okay.
let's say, for instance, someone doesn't, and then there's still money there, and then you have to transfer, yes.
Okay. So it's 110, not 120. And then the 593 is actually 583 into a transfer that we didn't have on the most recent.
And I just have a quick question. The properties that you've identified for demolition,
Yeah.
the properties that you identified for demolition,
Universal Engineering did a report in 2020.
okay, so I'm familiar with that. Were any of those properties owned by the same person?
Several of them were, and several of them still have not been addressed.
Do you know if any of them owned 3 or more of those properties?
I do, I have the reports right here. I'll let you.
this report that Ms. Washington provided to us about a year ago.
Probably, so one is owned by Green Herbert, one is owned by Legacy, one is owned by Ron Rogers, one is owned by Leroy Phillips. None of them are owned by the same property owner, correction.
Shouldn't 2 be owned by Ron Rogers?
Yeah, it's 2 lots right next to each other on West Street.
One says Leroy, 147 is owned by Leroy Phillips, 149 is owned by Ron Rogers, it may be another one. But that's the most recent. This
So
was
how many you have total then?
from the report that Ms. Washington gave, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 6 done, so that in totality, it was 6 done. Since that time, one of those properties have demoed and rebuilt. That's 546 Eaton Street. That was on the original list, but other than that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 residents that were done by Universal Engineering to be demoed, and none of them are owned by the same property.
How many you show on West Street?
137 Southwest Street and 149. What's shown?
It just seems.
Oh, no,
Should be three
I
on
take that
this.
back. 137 Southwest Street, 147 Southwest Street, and 149 Southwest Street.
So two of them owned by Mr. Rogers, and then the other one is owned by the other person.
Right.
And wasn't the one on Bethune also? I'm sorry.
But Doom was not provided in the list that I received from Universal Engineering. So that was like my first or second week. I requested because I heard that it had been done. So I requested from Universal. And this is what they gave me along with the reports they gave me that showed that these were all condemned buildings that should be torn down. Those reports were done.
But the one on Bethune, if I remember, we've seen it there. That's a 2-story that's on Bethune. Right before you get to Maitland, property line.
But it wasn't provided, so if that had been done, that had been something maybe the town had recognized, but that's not something that we have provided to Universal for them to provide feedback and give the condemned. This is the list of condemned properties that was provided to me by Universal when I first started.
It just seems that the infill program, instead of being killed, could have been amended. Because if you're gonna tear down a house, it would have been very nice to offer a program, we could build one so that people can, to help them build one, a new one in its place. It's like you're doing with trees. You know, sometimes it's good to just look at the programs as a complement to others, but maybe we can revisit that in the future.
Any other discussion?
I would like to also add that code enforcement is running a campaign, and part of their campaign is going to be looking at dilapidated properties within the town. So this was obviously, those are rough, but this is what the town has initiated our contractor to go out and to do the work of reporting.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of CRA 2024-15?
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Staff reports, Ms. Rose.
I wanted to let you all, and I sent out an invite, the CRA is partnered with the Central Florida Urban League, the Boys and Girls Club, Orange County Sheriff's Office, Hill Police Department, and the State Attorney's Office to hold a community conversation at the Boys and Girls Club on the 10th of April from 4 to 5:30. As you all know, we are in the process of the BJA grant, which includes some of the community policing activities that you're seeing, such as Meet the Chief, pizza with a cop, and we are actively working on revamping the budget and updating so that we can provide the community with a spectacular community room at the Francis Jerry Park. We are in phase 1, so the way for the circuit, formerly known as Clubby, and the project is broken down into 4 phases. We are in the first phase. We have received an asbestos report, and we are working on demolition pricing. So hopefully within the next 30 to 45 days, you will start seeing progress on the circuit. The Black History Museum proposal has been submitted. It was submitted on the 15th. We will know on the 12th where we stand. Everyone has received a copy of what was submitted to the state. In the utility bill that was sent out on 3/20, everyone received a flyer from the Paint, Plan, and Pave program, as well as the Weatherization Assistance Program. So far, 1 resident from the town has applied for the Weatherization Assistance Program. I have reached out to Osceola Council on Aging to request if they could speak with the participant to see if they would be willing to do some sort of interview / conversation about the work that's being done, so that we can kind of tell the community more about the program, so that they can use this opportunity. CDBG for Orange County is due. We are currently working, so there was a grant submitted prior to my starting for workforce to turning the old CRA building into a workforce incubator, partnering with Career Source, and other, businesses in the town to create an incubator space. We are actively seeking to redo the CRA building, and a grant will be submitted, within the next 2 weeks. There has been conversation with Four Roots. Four Roots has for those who don't know, Four Roots is a nonprofit organization affiliated with Four Rivers. They have I guess what you would call a fruits and vegetable fresh produce bus, and they have requested to come out and serve the residents here in the town. So we are having discussion and waiting on the proposal, to find out exactly where they would like. Their initial thought is, on a Sunday after church, so that residents that they're coming out, that is to be determined. I'm waiting for a physical proposal. I have been made aware that Heavy Nutrition used to have programming within the town. I'm waiting for the executive director to come. She's currently on vacation, and she said when she gets in town, we'll sit down and have a conversation to kind of go over what that programming used to look like, within the town of Eatonville, and see if we can bring that back. And that is all I have for tonight.
Done. Reports. Director Williams. Director Creighton.
No report.
Director Gardner.
Welcome, Director Williams. I just want to remind us that our work is for the people. And when I saw the demolition program and you have an infill program, and when we had the discussion prior, months ago, when I thought I asked you to consider buying land or houses so that we could fix them up and give them back to the community. These two have worked well together. But we seem to have our focus in other places. So I think it's worth saying, we must remember the people. The people. We could easily ask these owners to be a part of the infill program, to put a house on that property. Not only would it generate revenue for the town, but it will provide housing that people can buy. And it's not always, looking for the best. That's
Director James.
Yes, good evening. Just to address a couple of issues, Alderman Washington made the comment that we don't need an aquatic center, or that we need an aquatic center, and I'm in agreement, but the YMCA has one. So what we can do is possibly hope to get possibly a deal on our membership so that we can send our kids there. We don't have the space for an aquatic center, but we do have the pool. Everyone always saying, save our history, save our history. Well, here we are now talking about tearing down the pool, which is a part of our history, which is a part of my history because where I almost drowned. So having that aquatic center is great that we can send our kids over to the YMCA, help teach them how to swim. Then they can come here and have fun in our pool. What we can do and what we could possibly do is improve on the pool that we have here, providing shade, covering, make it conducive so that a family can want to rent it for when they have their family reunions. They always say recreation is not a revenue generator. I tend to disagree. We have a pool that could possibly bring in some revenue that can help out with something, whether it be to pay for the lifeguards or pay for the upkeep of the chemicals that we use yearly to keep that pool up. So the pool to me is an asset. I think we probably need to, look at, just improving it and just making that much better. I also agree with board member Gardner, but the only, I guess, caveat or the only stipulation I want to have is that we have that for our residents. Now, when I say that, I heard you say community. I'm saying for our residents. It's a shame to have one of our residents to say, I'm a veteran. I see one of these developers here build a brand new home. And that brand new home, when he said, Rod, I wanted to move to Eatonville. My VA loan gave me $250, but the developer wanted $275. And he said, hey man, can you come down a little bit because I want to live in Eatonville. And for that resident, it hurt my heart for that guy to say that he was turned down for $25,000, that he couldn't purchase a home in Eatonville where he was born and raised. And now he's still renting because we're waiting for land to become available so that we can build these homes. I think that the caveat should be that we should say, somehow figure out a way that the criteria can include the residents. That those Eatonville people that wanna buy here have the opportunity first. And I know it's there, but I'm just saying we just gotta go to extra level to make that happen. If possible, for the clerk, can I get the names from the mayor of those 4 recommendations that were given for the board from the Orange County, if that's possible? I hate bringing motions from the floor because of past politics where they surprise people with motions. But if we can, board chair, can we put a motion on the floor to return the property to the Dixon family on with the little, I guess, stipulation that we receive the funding, the monies that we receive back? I know we have the power in this board to do that, and this is, we can, like Boardman Washington said, we can vote it up or down. But I want to put that on because I want to fight for that family to get that land back if possible. Also, let me see. Ms. Rhodes, I look forward to your leadership. When I say that, remember you sent an email saying, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for infrastructure improvements. And you came back and said, like, what kind? I look for you as being the expert and the executive director to come back with, okay, I have a VAL program. I have a water that fits the criteria of what we look for. And not like allowing us to make the decision, but you bring it back from your leadership and your experience on what this town needs as though you live here. I've had our executive director, one before his previous, that moved me to the town of Eatonville. So he understood where we came from, but his water was off because he wanted to feel what we felt. So he moved here to feel it. So when I say that infrastructure, I look for you to get those ideas, and I won't say rely on me because I trust you to go find them, the valves and whatever we need to improve our infrastructure.
Can I say something on that? So the attorney and I have been having a conversation about CIP. So legally, the CRA cannot spend funds if there is a capital improvement plan, and we had to do research, and there is not one. There's not a current capital improvement plan. So I did email you back and I let you know that the town just received $35 million for sewer and clean water. The CRA is going to actively work on stormwater and repaving of the road under CDBG grants in the coming summer. And that was on my report, but I kind of held back because we had much, but I kind of wanted to figure out. And then as well as, that is on my report, I didn't give it. We are actively looking in 2019, Rosen Burrito was hired by the CRA to do a Kennedy master plan study, and I am actually having conversations to get a cost analysis of that Kennedy Boulevard. Redo that was part of the master plan, which included a bike lane, trees, lighting on the west side. But those are things in the work, and I just don't want to jump prematurely. But those things, when you said infrastructure, those are things that we are actively looking at.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Thank you, Chair. That's my report. Have a good evening.
I'll address what you have. Ms. Rose, something, and I'll go to everybody else. You said just a master plan for Kennedy Boulevard?
There.
Saying that's all you asking for is the master plan just for Kennedy Boulevard, or you talking about the old hotels?
Well, there was one done in 2019. There was a master plan done for Dent Johnson, redoing, moving the city hall, moving everything to the Hungerford property. But of that, there are several grants that are out there, and Safe Streets is one of the grants that are out there. And what I did was, how do we bring the plans that we've already spent funds on and spent our money on? So Kennedy Boulevard was done as part of the 2019-2020 master plan that was done. It was instead of Kennedy, it was a city hall. It was a city hall. Everything was across the street. So the library, a city hall, a museum, redoing the Denton Johnson Center master plan. But Kennedy, because we are looking at infrastructure, that was one of the things that Director Daniels mentioned. Kennedy Boulevard itself, as we all know, on the west side, they are widening. And so looking at how do we kind of integrate what the proposal is for the west side, how do we kind of integrate that on the east side, which would include bike lanes, putting up street lights on the west side, and redoing some of the streetscape on this part.
And that's actually wasn't a master, it was conceptual, right? Because a master would have M&P with it, right?
It was a master plan because it was only.
It had mechanical and all that stuff to go along with it, because if I recall, it didn't have all that in there.
I'd have to go back and look.
Okay. Director Washington.
That's me. One thing I would correct Director Daniel. Recreation did not make no money for no community at all. So don't let them Anybody will tell you, you do not make money doing recreation. And yes, I do want to apply to I don't want to send my kids to no YMCA or no Boys and Girls Club to swim. That's what we pay our tax dollars for in this community. For a better pool, for better amenities, period. Not fix up things. People are knocking stuff down. Look at City Winter Park. They built a new pool. They knocked it down and put a smaller pool in the back. It was newer than our pool. What history we talking about? Other cities redo pools. Leesburg, Moulay Pool, nice aquatic center. Like she said about the Ben Johnson Center, Winter Park Civic Center. Now they Civic Center down. We still looking at the old Ben Johnson Center. We got to come up with new stuff, people. Stop fixing stuff, putting a band-aid on it. Yeah, it's plans for it. She said it right. It's drawings and everything for the new Ben Johnson Center. We have to put stuff on paper. It's on paper, not put it on bricks and mortar. Stop playing games and let these people give our citizens something better. You go in the Ben Johnson Center, it's hot. We charge people to go in there. It's a disservice. Straight disservice. It's a shame. I'm embarrassed. Be going to a function in Ben Johnson. Because it should have been done years ago. But we sit up here as a board and fight people, fire people that get their job done. They got the funds for it. Because y'all personal issues. Point blank and simple. That's why where we at today. Because y'all personal issues. We should have been having new Ben Johnson, new pool and everything. But I don't think you guys see over whatever box your guys in. Y'all not stepping outside the box at all. That's why we need a board up here gonna be aggressive. If you're not gonna be aggressive, don't be on the board. We need to be aggressive. Get stuff done. We haven't done anything. You can't say anything you've done the last 2 years on this board. You can't tell me something you're doing positive on this board. But hold money back, not fund enough something because we don't know where the money's going. The money has to be used. It's not a savings account for you. It's not. But we sit up here, knick-knack, whatever, but we don't get nothing accomplished. That's all I have.
Yeah. That's all I have. Vice Chair Randolph.
Yes, I have a question. Did you say that the demolition for the Club Eaton? Did you mention?
Interior demolition. So the building is, obviously the roof is falling down, so the interior demolition, as well as there's, the asbestos report came back with asbestos in the building, so you have to have a special company come in to do that, and we are working diligently with the owner to find the right company who can do it all.
All right. Director Washington's comments. I agree with everything that he says. But everybody up here, if we go back and we think as to what we have done, your whole time, your whole tenure that you ever served in the town of Eatonville, what did you do? What was actually accomplished? Not just the people up here on the board. Because I think this board, as far as overall, I think we have done a pretty good job. No, we do not agree on everything, and that is to be expected because we are all different. But let's just go back, go way back and see what have we accomplished since way back up to now. We've been putting, you're right, a Band-Aid on a lot of things, but we're trying to move forward. So I think we made a lot of accomplishments based upon the people that we have here serving the town. Now, back to the CRA. I know we have a lot of things that we're trying to do, and there's lots of work that needs to be done. But we have to stay focused on what the CRA is really supposed to be doing. It's all about taking care of our slum and blight areas. And you mentioned about the water, the streets, utilities. Those are things that we should be concentrating on. Our sidewalks. If we can give $5,000 for a paint program, a plant program, and the pave program, we should be able to give $5,000 to help someone with their roof. There's lots of people here in this town that experience some problems with their roof. Why not come up with something more constructive that can actually reach more people? I'm not against affordable housing. I think that's a great idea. But trying to give 1,000, 100,000 to 200,000 just for a couple homes, when we can serve 40, 50, 60 people in our community to help them with their windows, their roof, their eaves and overhang, doors and things of that nature. I think that money can be better utilized as far as that's concerned. We do have a developer here that build homes. He built 11, 12 homes already. Out of that, how many people from Eatonville actually bought an affordable home here? Maybe one family out of 10, 11. You could ask Mr. Grant. That's what he does. And it doesn't guarantee that people in Eatonville are gonna buy a home in Eatonville because we build homes in Eatonville. There will be people coming from the outside, coming from all over to buy a home here in Eatonville. So I think we need to get our priorities right. We have our parks, benches that needs to be looked at to see if we can accommodate more pleasure and leisure in our parks. You had talked about the parking here. It is a problem in Eatonville. We have large events, people don't have any place to park. Churches don't even have places to park here, parking on the streets. So we do have some problems here that we really need to really define in our neighborhoods, in our community, to make this a better community. Thank you very much, and that's all I have. Thank you.
I'll do my report and then, the motion you have. It's amazing. The other day I took time, I was having to declutter my mind. And an article came to my mind from 2002, and it talked about Eatonville, Florida. And the same things that was happening in 2002, we're still facing right now in 2024. 22 years later, we're still dealing with some of the same issues, some of the same players, some of the same misjustices. Director Washington, you say personal. I don't know about everybody else. I'm addressing from my standpoint. It is personal to me. It's personal to me when you take advantage of residents of the historic town of Eatonville. It's personal to me when you take advantage of the elderly. It's personal to me when you take advantage of taxpayer dollars for your own personal gain. Yes, it's personal because it's about the people. It's not about none of us that's sitting up here. It's about people. So yeah, I'm going to take it personal every time. And though this may be my last meeting as the CRA chair, I'm not going nowhere. My head is lifted, my head is high, because there is greater amongst us. And the greater will be called accountability. The accountability was here while I sat here. The accountability is going to be even greater with me sitting out there with these residents. We're going to hold everybody accountable. We're going to end this stigma of 2002. It's 2024 and we must do better. Doing better means we must always show dignity and respect to each other. We got to be transparent. We got to have inclusion. And one of the reasons why we having these issues is because there's no strategy. We just pull stuff out of the air and say, hey, this is what we need to do, and we're going to spend money. That's not the way of doing it. We got to have capital. You want the aquatic center? How much is it going to cost? Where are we going to get the capital from to make it happen? So we can say things like my grandma used to say, you can make your mouth fried chicken, but you got to put forth the action. You got to actually have the flour and all the seasonings and the grease and everything to make it happen and put a little heat up under it. So we got to do that. Ms. Randolph, you did say something key about the infill. Infill may be a great program, but a lot of people do. They need roofs and windows and all that. And the reason we have a lot of dilapidated homes here is because a lot of people don't have insurance. They can't get insurance because the roof has not been fixed or the windows. My mom's property right now just went through another insurance thing, and now they're coming out inspecting even more. It's called a 4-point inspection. And if you can't pass that 4-point inspection, you're not going to be able to get insurance. So these people, when a natural disaster or something happens, they're not going to be able to rebuild. And we talk about outsiders coming in. That's the reason the outsiders can come in and take over, because our people are not equipped. So we got to equip our people. I just want to thank everybody. I'm encouraged. This town is on the move. Last thing is, Director Daniels had a motion to return the Dixon property back to the family. Is there a motion?
So
We
what,
can't do that.
Well,
This is legal, baby.
hold on, Director, I'm watching.
Just tell me before you do it, sir.
I'm going to the attorney. You're not the attorney. You don't have a JD.
He'll take.
So that's the reason I'm doing it the way
He gonna tell you.
Mr. Washington. I'm putting a motion out there because that's the protocol, and I was gonna let the attorney jump in, so
That's why you guys only be up here, boy, I tell you. Go ahead.
that's your opinion. I got character.
I got more than character.
Attorney Jackson.
I was just gonna say that I would recommend against, taking any motion from the floor specifically as it relates to the return of property. I think that properly noticed.
Okay.
Before that can be taken up, and I would advise against it.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and move it.
Do you want us to move or you want to be sent according to what the attorney has said?
I want to look like the attorney, because we are only as strong as our, legal. And judgment's coming, so I want to do it the right way. Put it on the books the right way.
Okay.
I definitely want to do it now, but I want to do it the right. Hopefully, honor or whatever will do the right thing. And if not, then judgment's coming.
May I ask a yes or no answer to the attorney, please?
Yes, Director.
Attorney, is the property in the name of the town or still in, Mr. Thomas Dick's name?
The property has been transferred into the town of Eatonville Community Development.
So when I go on the web, I will see the town of Edenville and not Mr. Tommy Dick's name. So it's the deeds and all of that in the town name, is that all of that has been taken care of?
My understanding, I would have to go and check the specifics of that. What I've seen is that the properties has been transferred into the town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency. That was also confirmed by the eviction proceedings that took place. Attorney Shepherd handled the eviction proceedings. The only way that could proceed forward with the town of Eatonville Community Development Agency is if they were the proper owners of the property, which they go through as such.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rose, can you follow up on that just to be sure?
But, I mean,
Thank
if
you. Yes,
if
sir.
it wasn't, it'd be on some taxes on it, so it
Yeah,
definitely
should
on,
be.
well, it should, it's the town owner, so it should be no taxes on it, so that's one way you know, you don't own.
It's just on the Tommy Dixon, not just.
And Ms. Rose can provide us the documentation.
About the property.
Thank you.
Question for the attorney, for the boss chair. Where are we on the investigation of $71,000 check cut to the executive director? Where are we on that?
The last place where that was left, Director James, is that the prior executive director and I worked on a RFP in order to get someone to come in and to do the investigation. My understanding is that went out and that there were no that there was no one interested or that no one actually applied. Is my understanding from the last time. That's the last place to understand where that was left off.
Do we have to wait on somebody? Can we appoint a agency to investigate that?
That could be the if that is the direction of the board, yes.
So can I put a motion on that?
I'll
Can I put a motion on that, attorney?
So I can't get no one. That's what we're doing.
yeah, those, because of the process of expending the funds, I would have to do something. I would also recommend that there is proper notice provided for that.
Okay.
Anything else you want to put on?
Those two things can be put on there.
Anything else you want to put on?
Director Washington.
No, because you guys are ridiculous.
So Mr. Attorney, Jackson, it has Dixon Tommy life estate. Remains town of Eva community development, so it's just on both of them. I don't know how, but.
The actual deed, I can provide the deed, the actual deed has the town being built on it, the commercial parcel as well.
Okay. I thank everybody for coming out. Remember, dignity and respect goes a long way. I move adjournment. I was in
Second.
8:23.
Thank you.
Judgment.
Well, like, this should packet. Okay. It was.